Welcome back to another episode of Unsolved Case, where we dive deep into the mysteries that leave us questioning the unknown. Today, we're going to explore a case that has puzzled investigators, haunted a family, and left a community grasping for answers. It's the case of Brandon Swanson, the young man whose sudden disappearance on a seemingly ordinary night has left a trail of confusion and heartbreak. Sit back, relax, and let's journey together into this perplexing and haunting mystery. Before we start, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. You will find everything strange and exciting with us. Let's get started. On the night of May 14th, 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson, a student at Minnesota West Community and Technical College, was in high spirits. The spring semester had ended, and like many young people, Brandon wanted to celebrate with his friends. He left his home in Marshall, Minnesota, and headed out to the nearby town of Lind, where he joined a few gatherings, catching up with friends and enjoying the evening. Later that night, Brandon decided to extend his evening by driving to Canby, a town about 30 miles from his home. Although he had been drinking, his friends reported that he wasn't intoxicated, just a young man enjoying the end of a school term. Around midnight, Brandon decided it was time to head home. What should have been a straightforward drive along familiar roads took an unexpected and mysterious turn. Instead of taking the usual route on Minnesota State Highway 68, Brandon found himself navigating the dark and winding back roads of rural Minnesota. Sometime after midnight, Brandon's car veered off the road, coming to a stop in a ditch near a farming field. Stuck and unable to free his car, Brandon did what any of us would do. He called his parents for help. The clock was ticking past 2:00 a.m. when Brandon's voice came through the phone. Calm but concerned, explaining his situation, his parents, Annette and Brian Swanson, immediately set out to find him. They stayed on the phone with Brandon, reassuring him and flashing their headlights as they drove, hoping to catch sight of his car in the darkness. But as they searched, something strange began to unfold. Despite following Brandon's directions, they couldn't find him. Frustration mounted, and after a brief exchange, Brandon hung up the phone, only to reconnect moments later with his mother, who apologized for the tense words. Brandon, still calm, decided to take matters into his own hands. He told his parents that he would walk to a friend's house in Lind, a place he believed was nearby. He stayed on the phone with them as he walked, navigating the rural landscape. But then, the unthinkable happened. As Brandon walked, he suddenly exclaimed, "Oh shit," and the line went silent. His parents waited, hoping to hear his voice again. But there was nothing. The call had ended, and Brandon was gone. Panic set in as the Swansons tried to call Brandon back, but each call went straight to voicemail. They spent the rest of the night driving the gravel roads and searching the fields, desperate to find any sign of their son. As dawn broke, Annette made a call to the Lind Police Department to report Brandon missing. But the response was disheartening. The police initially dismissed the urgency of the situation, suggesting that it wasn't unusual for a college student to stay out all night, especially after a night of drinking. But the Swansons knew better. This wasn't like Brandon. Hours passed with no sign of their son, and the police finally joined the search. They quickly realized that Brandon's situation was far from ordinary. Using the signal from his phone, they triangulated his last known location, not in Lind, as everyone had believed, but 20 miles away in a rural area near Porter, Minnesota. That afternoon, searchers found Brandon's car stuck in a ditch off Lime Lincoln Road between Porter and Taunton. The car was empty, with no sign of Brandon nearby. His glasses, crucial to his vision, were left inside the vehicle. Worrying detail given that Brandon was legally blind in one eye. This discovery only deepened the mystery. But let us stop for a moment. It seems that the matter is complicated, and to help us solve it, do not forget to click like and share the story with your friends. Let's continue. Now, let's pause for a moment and consider the possibilities. What could have happened to Brandon that night? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, listeners, as we explore some of the theories surrounding this case. One of the most discussed theories is that Brandon fell victim to the harsh and unforgiving terrain of rural Minnesota. The area is dotted with fields, rivers, and deep ditches, places easy to stumble into in the dark. The fact that a canine unit tracked Brandon's scent to the edge of the Yellow Medicine River, only to lose it at the water's edge, has led many to believe that he may have accidentally fallen into the river. The Yellow Medicine River was high and fast-flowing that night, which could have swept him away. But despite exhaustive searches, including dredging and excavating the riverbed during a drought in 2021, no trace of Brandon has ever been found. Others suggest that Brandon might have encountered foul play. Could someone have crossed paths with him that night, leading to a confrontation or worse? The eerie silence after his final words on the phone, and the discovery of his car miles away from where he was believed to be, have fueled speculation about a possible abduction or attack. However, there's no evidence to support this theory, leaving it as just one of many unsettling possibilities. Another theory is tied to the landscape itself. Some locals believe that Brandon may have become disoriented in the vast farmland, wandering into areas where he became trapped or injured. The reluctance of some farmers to allow searches on their land during planting and harvest seasons has left significant gaps in the search efforts. Could Brandon have wandered onto one of these properties, where the search teams were unable to go? And then, there's the idea that Brandon may have deliberately misled his parents about his location, perhaps out of embarrassment or confusion. But this theory doesn't sit well with those who knew Brandon. He was close to his family and had no reason to deceive them, especially in a moment of need. Despite the lack of answers, the search for Brandon hasn't stopped. Over the years, search efforts have continued with volunteers, law enforcement, and even specialized canine units combing the area where he was last seen. But the terrain is challenging, and the sheer size of the search area has made it difficult to cover every inch. In the aftermath of Brandon's disappearance, his parents channeled their grief into action. They advocated for a change in the law, leading to the passage of Brandon's Law on July 1, 2009. This law requires that authorities immediately take a missing persons report and begin an investigation, regardless of the person's age. It's a small comfort, but it ensures that other families won't have to face the same frustrating delays that the Swansons endured. But what about the searches themselves? For time, new technologies and methods have been employed in the search for Brandon. Drone surveillance, data modeling, and other advanced techniques have been used to try to pinpoint his last known location. Yet, the mystery remains. In 2021, searchers once again turned their attention to the Yellow Medicine River, hoping that the drought conditions might reveal something that had been missed before. They dragged and excavated the riverbed, but like so many searches before, they found nothing. No evidence of Brandon's presence, no sign that he had fallen into the water. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. So what do you think, listeners? What happened to Brandon Swanson that night? Was he a victim of the unforgiving landscape? Or is there something more sinister at play? Could the answer lie in the unsearched fields, or is the truth even stranger than fiction? Share your thoughts, your theories, and your insights. This is a case that has left everyone who hears it with more questions than answers. And your perspective could shed new light on this enduring mystery. As we bring this episode to a close, the disappearance of Brandon Swanson remains one of the most baffling cases in recent memory. Despite the tireless efforts of his family, friends, and the many volunteers who have searched for him, Brandon's fate is still unknown. His story is a poignant reminder of how quickly life can change and how some mysteries remain unsolved, no matter how hard we try to uncover the truth. Thank you for joining me today on True Crime Chronicles. If you've been touched by Brandon's story or have your own theories, don't hesitate to reach out. Together, maybe we can piece together the puzzle that has eluded so many for so long. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep searching for the truth. Here ends today's story. Don't forget to press the like and subscribe to the channel to find everything mysterious and exciting. See you soon.